Imagine this: two royals, constantly in the spotlight, sharing every intimate moment with the world. Meghan and Harry's every move seems designed to keep us glued to their perfect love story. But what if it's not as flawless as it appears? What if everything we see is part of a larger, carefully orchestrated PR campaign to convince us of their fairy tale romance? When you look at them side by side with William and Catherine, the difference is striking. While Harry and Meghan seem to turn every public appearance into a grand performance of affection, William and Catherine exude a quiet, effortless connection that speaks volumes without the need for spectacle. So, what's really going on behind closed doors? In this video, we'll break down Meghan and Harry's public image, their relentless push to build their personal brand, and how it contrasts with the understated elegance of William and Catherine. Get ready to dive into the drama, the manipulations, and the truths that might surprise you. The truth might be more shocking than you think. Stay tuned. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry first stepped into the public eye together, their relationship was nothing short of a fairy tale. It captivated the world. Here were two people from completely different worlds, drawn together by love, who defied expectations and navigated the complexities of royal life. But over time, something started to shift. Their story began to feel less like a romance and more like a carefully orchestrated spectacle, one that raised more questions than it answered. It's hard to ignore the striking difference between how Meghan and Harry present their love and how other royals, like William and Catherine, do the same. In public, Harry and Meghan have always seemed to go above and beyond, from the PDA at the Invictus Games to the constant Instagram posts and media appearances. Their affection is broadcasted at every turn, always on display, almost like they are trying to convince us of something. But what if that something is more about building an image, a brand, rather than showcasing genuine intimacy? Could it be that what we see is a manufactured love story, crafted not just for the public, but for the media machine that Meghan is now a part of? Now, let's pause for a second and think about William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales. There's a noticeable contrast in how they show their affection. It's subtle, almost understated. Their love isn't splashed all over social media or paraded around in public. It's consistent, quiet, and, dare I say it, real. William and Catherine's bond is not about drawing attention to themselves, but about serving their role in the royal family with dignity and grace. Their moments of affection seem more natural, almost effortless, and you get the feeling that it's not something they are trying to sell to the public. It just is. Isn't it strange that in the world of social media, where every moment can be captured and shared, some people still manage to keep their personal lives private? In fact, this is the royal family we're talking about, where privacy has always been a luxury for the few, not the many. Yet, Harry and Meghan seem to be playing by an entirely different set of rules. Their relationship is out there for the world to see, almost as if the spotlight is essential for it to survive. But when we compare their approach with William and Catherine, it's clear that not all relationships need to be broadcasted to be meaningful. Here's the thing: Meghan and Harry have made a brand out of their royal status. Whether it's through their charity work, media appearances, or business ventures, their titles and the power they hold in the public eye are leveraged to push a message. But where does this leave the authenticity of their actions? Is it truly about supporting veterans at the Invictus Games? Or is it more about keeping the public's eyes on them, creating a narrative around their sacrifices and good deeds? Take the Invictus Games. For example, Harry has been the face of this event for years, bringing attention to the bravery and resilience of military veterans. But in recent years, the focus has shifted from the athletes to the royal couple themselves. What started as a platform to honor the service and sacrifice of veterans is slowly becoming just another backdrop for the Sussexes to highlight their relationship their personal struggles, and their commitment to various causes. Meghan, too, has found herself wrapped up in the limelight, attending events, speaking on behalf of the military, and, let's not forget, wearing high-end outfits that often draw more attention than the athletes themselves. It's hard to ignore the reality that the couple has turned something as important as Invictus into a media platform that supports their brand more than it does the veterans. But before we rush to judgment, let's ask ourselves, is this a sign of them being self-serving, or are they just trying to make the best of the opportunities that come with their fame? Maybe they believe they can do good, but they also understand that their visibility is what makes that possible. After all, Harry's work with Invictus and Meghan's charity work have raised significant funds, drawn attention to crucial causes, and provided a voice to those who often go unheard. But as they continue to push their personal brand, how much of the message is getting lost in the noise? Now, let's take a step back and examine the bigger picture. Meghan's public persona, her social media presence, and her role in shaping their brand have all played a part in creating a narrative around their relationship. But when did it become necessary to constantly remind the public about their love story? This isn't just about them being in love, it's about them telling the world how in love they are. And that's where things start to feel a little off. When you have to constantly reinforce your commitment to one another, is it because you want the world to believe in it? Or is it because you're trying to convince yourself? This brings us to a key point: the relationship between image and reality. Meghan has faced criticism for being too focused on her brand, especially in the wake of her exit from the royal family. There are whispers that the couple's actions, from flying private jets despite advocating for climate change, to their over-the-top public displays of affection, are nothing more than performative acts designed to maintain relevance in a world where visibility is everything. Is it possible that Meghan, in her pursuit of personal success, is so wrapped up in the narrative of their perfect life that she's losing sight of the very thing that made Harry so appealing in the first place? The real, raw human connection? After all, Harry is not just Meghan's husband. He's also a son, a brother, and a man who once served in the military. His deep connection to the military community, particularly through the Invictus Games, was something that the world admired. But since marrying Meghan, we've seen him distance himself from many of his former royal duties, instead embracing the role of a husband in the spotlight. And that brings us to the most recent development, the question of authenticity. Is Harry still the man who stood side by side with veterans at the Invictus Games, or has he been absorbed by the persona Meghan has created? Has he lost sight of who he truly is in the pursuit of building a new life outside the royal family? A life where every move is scrutinized and every public appearance is part of a larger performance? The truth is, Harry and Meghan's marriage, much like their public image, is complicated. On one hand, they are a modern royal couple who have found a way to step out of the spotlight of traditional royal duties and into a space where they can control the narrative. On the other hand, they are also a couple that is constantly battling the public's perception of them, struggling to reconcile their desire for privacy with their need for attention. But here's the big question: does it really matter? Maybe it's time we stop scrutinizing every move they make and let them live their lives as they see fit. After all, it's their love, their journey, and ultimately, their choice how they share it with the world. But when that love becomes a business, when every intimate moment is turned into a story for the media to feast on, we have to wonder, what happens to the authenticity? What happens to the real Harry and Meghan? As we wrap up, it's clear that the line between reality and performance is thin for Harry and Meghan. What they choose to share with the world may be an act of love, or it could be a calculated move to stay relevant. Either way, one thing is for certain: their story is far from over. The real question is, will we ever know the truth behind it? As we've explored today, the story of Meghan and Harry is anything but simple. What initially seemed like a fairy tale has slowly unfolded into a complex web of PR campaigns, carefully crafted images, and public performances. From their over-the-top displays of affection to their brand-building efforts, it's hard not to question, are they truly in love? Or is their entire relationship a strategic move to stay in the spotlight? On the other hand, we've seen how William and Catherine's quieter, more private approach to their relationship has stood the test of time, creating a striking contrast. But here's the thing, maybe both approaches have their place. Meghan and Harry are doing what they feel is best for their brand, their causes, and their future. But is it all worth the cost of authenticity? And what does it really mean for their legacy as public figures? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Are Meghan and Harry's public displays of affection genuine, or are they just part of a calculated PR move? Do you believe their love story is authentic, or is it a performance to keep the world watching? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because your voice matters. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss out on our future deep dives into the world of the royal family. This conversation is far from over, and I can't wait to hear what you all have to say. Let's keep this discussion going.